Hello, my name is Abby Armstrong and I'm from Group 2. This week we are studying Lesson 4, which is the cities of Middle America and the Caribbean. Our assignment was to choose one of the cities in either Middle America or the Caribbean and to associate the economic development challenges with the issues by illustrating cause and effect relationships between some of the issues within the city that our group chose, and those were housing, employment, health, and rural to urban migration. So let's get our presentation started here. The city that we chose was Panama City, which is in Panama. First off, let's start by asking the question, what effects do economic developmental challenges have on health, employment, housing, and rural to urban migration? Well, let's find out. So, first off, health. A big problem in Panama City, Panama, is the water pollution. Many important sources of fresh drinking water for the Panama City area are being polluted by the operations of gold and copper mining projects. Instead of paying attention to this threat to the health of the people, the government has been persistent in promoting these activities as a strategy for economic development. Also, there is no access to potable water and sewage for many of the citizens of Panama City. Not only polluted, but there is no way to get it. There is a huge problem with unequal distribution of services due to the lack of economic development, and therefore people who live on the edge of the city do not have the service of clean drinking water nor improved sewage facilities. Continuing with the health, there are many confusions with the priorities within the government and their economic development. Rather than taking care of its own people, the government continues to create economic development models that look first to benefit wealthy national elites and their international partners and investors. Also, there are inequalities in health status and health care. The poor have less access to health care and are less likely to seek medical treatment in case of illness. The government's lack of focus for access to health services is seen through the significant number of children who are malnourished in Panama. Continuing on to employment, Panama City benefits a lot from construction and government projects. Panama City is experiencing a real estate boom because it is in the heart of the Americas. Its geographic location has also created many jobs associated with shipping. 5% of all international shipping goes through the Panama Canal. More about employment. At the time of the crisis in December of 2013, approximately 10,000 employees were employed in the project. Now that the project has come to a standstill, those jobs have been put in jeopardy. Panama unemployment is at a 40-year low, but the Panamanian economy is in desperate need for more skilled workers. 64.4% of Panamanians hold jobs in the service sector. 18.6% of the people of Panama are involved in the industrial sector. This means that Panama is not currently undergoing much economic development. 17% of the Panama people work in the agriculture sector. Not much is happening in the rural areas, and most of Panama's jobs are concentrated in more urban areas like Panama City. Continuing on to the housing. There are large discrepancies in income mean and therefore large discrepancies in housing quality. Consequently, there are many slums as well as many successful neighborhoods, condos, multi-purpose housing. More about housing. In recent years, there has been an increase in rural people's migration to urban areas. Rural-urban migration, coupled with low demand for unskilled laborers in the country's service-based economy, has led to an increase in urban poverty. Due to this poverty, most of the urban expansion has concentrated in slum tenements and since the 1950s in squatter settlements around the major cities. Surveys indicated that 80% of slum and squatter settlement inhabitants were migrants to the city. Moving on to rural to urban migration. Since the 1950s, Panama has seen massive urban expansion. In 1960, more than one-third of the entire population was classified as urban. By the early 1980s, the figure rose to 55%. The metropolitan population surrounding Panama City began to rise by almost 4%. There was a positive correlation between the economic activity and population density in Panama. The revenue was concentrated in the urban areas, therefore the population began to concentrate there. The most significant focus of urban development was the path following the formal canal zone that stretches from Colon on the Atlantic coast to Panama City on the Pacific. In the mid-1980s, the region accounted for more than half the total population of the country and over two-thirds of all those classified as inhabitants of the cities. It also included most non-agricultural economic activity. By the early 1980s, a huge percentage of the region's business and professional community had immigrated due to Panama City's expanding economy. And that is all that we have for Panama City and the economic development challenges. Thank you.